Oh, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Florida Gators survive again at home in the swamp. 23-21, Mississippi State throws an interception. The Gators continue to win. That's what great coaches do, Graham. Great coaches find ways to win football games. True testament what just happened, Graham. Yes or yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you
Absolutely.
go.
Only an elite coach can find a way to completely piss away a game and then still win.
I was, before the ending happened, I was truly going to sit here and talk about the great 2-minute drill before the half. Going for two, having 12 men on the field, and then kicking the extra point, overcoming that, not having VB3, not having Myazel. You had the injuries in the back half of your defense. And then, Graham, most people that are new to the program, and we're going to talk about the game. Graham, are the number one Tony Livingston fan. We are the number one, and he didn't play. So the fact that Florida did what they did today and still won and overcame is a true testament, again, to how great Billy Napier is.
The fact that they can win it all without Tony Livingston is wild. But they still, they were missing, Tony Gonzalez Livingston. But they still had Hayden Rob Gronkowski Hansen in the game. So they at least still had something.
Right.
But oh my God. And Amir Jackson is the only tight end that actually, has a pulse, and he plays some now because, our Lord and Savior Tony Livingston is hurt. But because God forbid we run an offense without two tight end sets. Did you hear during the game where they were like, this guy, Hayden Hansen, he never comes out of the game? I was like, yeah, that's the problem. He needs to come out the damn game.
Apparently they've never watched any Florida football.
I wish he would come out the game, bro.
All right, let's talk about the end of the damn game because holy smokes. You just knew this was going to happen. Mississippi State's going to find a way to score a touchdown with a couple minutes left in the game.
Of course, yeah.
Lagway, they're going to get the ball, and then all of a sudden, you just need 2 or 3 first downs. Not asking a whole lot. You don't need much. Mississippi State has all 3 timeouts. You don't get a first down at all. So then you punt. Mississippi State gets the ball. They get a couple first downs. An injury happens. Florida fans were chanting, "Fire Napier, fire Napier." And then an interception happens. You're like, how fitting. It's just typical Florida football, man. Typical Florida football.
The play when Florida had the ball before they had to punt it back, that 3rd and 1, when they ran that play action and they Lagway fakes the ball to Ball and he comes out to the right side and Eugene Wilson is wide ass open 25 yards out. There's nobody within Gainesville city limits next to Eugene Wilson. And instead, Lagway just tucks it and takes like a 4-yard sack, which a sack, whatever. Like you try to keep the clock running to punt. I get it, but like, what the hell are we doing, dude? Just run the ball. It's 3rd and 1. Like, yeah, I know they're selling out to stop the run, obviously, but it's 3rd and 1, and they still had to stop the run the first 2 plays, and you still got good yards. Just run the damn ball, bro. Jaden Ball could not be stopped the whole game.
No.
That last drive. They may as well have taken DJ Lagway out of the game the last drive and just let Jaden Ball take the snap and run and put an extra blocker in. Because, that's the only dude that, was just killing people. Offensively, the only reason they won this football game is because of number 13. And the lineman played pretty well in run protection.
Guess what his yards – guess how many yards he had?
Yeah, he finished with 130 or something, right?
150. He had 6.5 yards per carry.
You know what's crazy
about 3rd and 1, bro?
You know what's crazy? When he hit 112 yards, that was his career high.
Wow, I would have never guessed that.
That should not be his career. But the reason that's his career high is because every game when he's killing people, last year, every game when he was killing people, they put Montreal Johnson back in the damn game, or they put Jacoby Jackson in the game. And now this year, what's up?
Now JD Daniels.
Katie Daniels.
Yeah, Katie Daniels. Yeah, thank you.
But and it's Katie Daniels now because what's his face? I forget his name is injured, and
Webb.
Jacoby Jackson's injured. Not Webb, the other guy. That's been getting the ball. I can't remember his name. He played like 2 games ago. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but anyways, Rob's like, nah, Graham Lagway had a guy right in his face. He's not attempting that pass. I see what you're saying. Like the second best thing other than try to get that ball to Eugene Wilson was take the sack like he did. It's not. I'm not trying to say Lagway made a horrible mistake in that play. I'm saying Jaden Ball is getting 4 to 5 yards of pop on 3rd and 1. Just run the damn ball, dude. Oh my God. Like just run the, and honestly, look, I know it was bad field position and hindsight, you probably couldn't do this, but if you had run the ball and gotten it to like inches and then just run a sneak, you're getting the first down. The game's over. Like this doesn't need to be hard. Billy loves making this shit hard, dude. It's unbelievable.
Every game.
Every game, man. Every game. It don't matter if they're up 10, if they're up 21, if they're up 28. With 3-4 minutes left in that fourth quarter, it's gonna be dicey because this guy does not have a killer instinct bone in his body. He does not know how to shut the door on a team, and when he's losing, he does not know how to come back and win the game. It's like in pivotal moments, it's like whatever you could think. Okay, what's the dumbest decision to make here? That is what he makes.
He'll do that. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's talk about this. So. This is how much energy I had for the game. And I know you're more of the emotional wreck. And I'm just like, I sit here with my arms crossed and I just go, man, that was a good play. Hey, that's bad. That's how I watch games.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a nap during the first quarter. I got YouTube TV, so I record it. I zip. I went right through the first half. So I catch up at halftime live. I mean, I kind of knew what was going on before I started to catch up with everything. And I'm watching, I got like the double box. I got Georgia Ole Miss on. I'm watching more of that game. I cared more about that game than I did the Florida Mississippi State game. Then when that game finally went to the big box with Florida. And I'm just like, I really don't care what happens this game, man. Like, I came to that point. I know we're going to get into a lot of the things that's going on right now. I haven't checked Twitter or anything on social media in the last 5 hours. So you can catch me up to date on what the internet, according to the internet, what they're telling me.
On what people on the Bird app are saying.
Yeah, the burners and all the sources. I got a guy. I know this guy's saying this. Well, this guy's saying that about Napier and his job. I don't think he gets fired tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think he'll go the rest of the season. Unfortunately, because I can him tomorrow, and then you would have a fresh start with whoever you got, and then you roll with what you have.
So you don't think they're going to fire him the rest of the year?
I'd probably say probably not.
Like you think it won't be till like after Florida State?
Probably.
Interesting. See,
I don't feel strong about that, but that's how I feel right now.
I don't think they're going to fire him tomorrow. It was weird. I was telling the context of what Dylan's talking about. Everybody that's listening is like Dylan was saying he wasn't on Twitter, like, and I have been. And a lot of you guys probably were on Twitter, X, whatever, a decent amount throughout the game. A lot of people are tweeting and talking like it's a foregone conclusion that no matter what, he's getting fired tomorrow. Trust me, if you guys have listened to these two, you know that we hope that is the case. But both of us are kind of like, I believe it when I see it kind of thing. And I find it hard to believe it. Maybe the boosters force Scott Strickland's hand on this and he's going to do it regardless. I don't know. I'm not the sources guy. I don't pretend to have a bunch of sources that are telling me that's what's happening or that's not what's happening. I have no idea. I just tend to doubt. I mean, were we not in the same exact scenario last year for the most part? I mean, after the Texas A&M game, he was as fire gets, and they didn't actually pull the trigger. So it's like they didn't pull the trigger because not too long after that, they just played well against Tennessee. They didn't even win. But, like, that was enough to keep him around.
And remember UCF. They played well against UCF at home.
Right, yeah. And they won the game. They won the game against UCF to be. But, like, yeah, like the point is it's like, whether it's the boosters, whether it's Strickland, whoever you want to talk about, they have not shown that they're willing to pull the trigger quickly on this. So I sure hope that we wake up tomorrow from a Pete Thamel tweet. That would be great. But I don't know, man. I tend to doubt it. I'm like you on tomorrow. I tend to doubt that. However, I do think it's going to happen sooner than the Florida State game, like you're saying, because I mean they still got a lot of really good football teams they have to go play, Dylan, where they're probably going to lose by double digits more than once again.
Yeah, and it's just like Rob said, he's not getting fired until we have an embarrassing loss.
I agree, but that's kind of my point is they're going to have multiple more embarrassing losses. Like, I mean, if it ain't Georgia, it's going to be at Ole Miss. Like there's plenty of more teams that can embarrass us. Like,
Ole Miss, I think it's gonna be. If I had to pick, what's the embarrassing loss in the final stretch? It's that Ole Miss game, because they can just score at any point. I know they had a terrible fourth quarter against Georgia. Georgia finally they tied down and they only gave up less than 10 yards in the fourth quarter against Ole Miss in the final 3 drives, which was pretty impressive considering that Ole Miss was going out like gangbusters and going scoring at will the entire game. But I think Ole Miss could put up a 50 burger, and especially with a secondary, how beat up they are now, considering you have 3 true freshmen, and I mean, good gravy. How many times did someone get beat tonight, and Mississippi State just get connect?
I know. That was similar. It was similar with the Texas game. I mean, the Texas game, we had more health, and we were just blitzing over and over and over again. But like, how many times did we leave a Texas receiver wide open and Arch just missed him? Happened literally the entire game, and it was similar to tonight, outside of a few that they connected on. But okay, so here's the thing, though. So we know they got the bye week next week, and they got Georgia. I tend to think Georgia's going to run them out of the stadium. Okay, so that's one embarrassing loss. Then you go to Kentucky, which they've been just phenomenal in Lexington under Billy Napier. They've been just fantastic, right? So that could be an embarrassing loss. I know Kentucky's no good, but Florida's no good. So, and then at Ole Miss.
Oof.
Oh, and by the way, after that, your home winning streak against Tennessee is in serious jeopardy the week later. So, like, that's why I don't think he's going to survive all the way to the end of the Florida State game. And none of us believe he's going to survive till next year. That's over. It's really just a matter of when. I think there's going to be enough embarrassing losses moving forward to where there's going to be one that's eventually going to convince them to pull the trigger. I don't believe that's going to be tomorrow since they won tonight.
Yeah, the conversation Hacker and I had on Gator Bites on 1010XL Gators channels yesterday morning. Hacker's been the only one that I've heard say this that has the belief that you can't fire him after a win because that would be a bad look on the program.
It's ridiculous.
And I just went on and just let him go. You can go on and on and on. And I said, comedically, I'm like, why? I was like, that makes no sense. Why does it matter? LSU told Ed Orgeron, hey, you got 2 weeks, and this will be your last game. And he said, okay, which door do I go out of? And his last game he won, and nobody remembered. And then Brian Kelly, and they win the SEC West, and they play in the SEC title game the next year. I think most fans believe us that we would pull the trigger. I'm just ready for this to be over with, man. I mean, it's just time and time again. Graham, let's play this game. I heard this from Jeff Prosser. Guess how many fourth quarter touchdowns Billy Napier's offense has had this year?
Fourth quarter touchdowns Billy Napier's offense has had this year.
Not including Long Island.
Okay. Shoot. Not many. 2.
They had one against South Florida. They had one tonight. And both times it was at the very beginning of the fourth quarter. So, in other words, they got the ball late in the third quarter.
It was really a third quarter touchdown, yeah.
It carried over to the fourth quarter, and then they scored a touchdown.
So they've had 0 clutch touchdowns.
Pretty much.
Is the point, yeah.
Pretty much. I mean.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because tonight was the Katie Daniels run, I believe.
Yes, it was.
So they were both runs, 0 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Yes. That sounds about right. If you watch the games, that ain't surprising.
No, it's I mean, dude, Florida's defense did play well. I mean, Mississippi State moved the ball. down the field a little bit. I know Mississippi State coughed up a fumble from the air. I guess the wind went right under his armpit and popped the ball right out. That interception at the end, only giving up 21 points, all things considered. And Mississippi State runs that Josh Heupel Tennessee, up tempo, spread everybody out. Florida's defense has played, pretty good the first 2 months of the season, but I think that's going to change here in November because you're about to play legit teams and legit offensive coordinators that, you're talking about Georgia, Kirby Smart, who will want to put up 50. Ole Miss Lane Kiffin's going to want to do the same thing. Tennessee's going to want to do that. And who the hell knows what Florida State's going to be by the time they get there.
A Florida State game should be on PBS Kids at like 7 a.m. on Friday, not on Saturday. Just play it while we're all getting ready for work that morning and call it a day. Or I guess that's after Thanksgiving, so we'll be off anyways. It's going to continue to look like this, whether they win or lose. And there's going to be more head-scratching stuff. And Dylan, let's pretend that they do fire him tomorrow or after Georgia or whenever. Let's pretend that he gets fired before the end of the season and they got to name an interim. Am I smoking crack or – yes, I am. Okay.
Yes.
Am I smoking crack or – I don't understand why it feels like it's this foregone conclusion that Russ Callaway would be the interim. Why would Ron Roberts not be the interim?
I've heard Roberts.
It's proven to have a brain.
Well, and Roberts is the only one I know that's been at a smaller school, but he's been a interim. He's been a head coach twice.
Yeah, it should be Ron Roberts. He should be the interim. And because the reason I bring that up is to our guy Rob, his point from earlier. I swear, I think if we fire Billy, this team would automatically get better. Prove me wrong. I totally agree with that. I completely agree. I think you do too, John. I totally agree. Like it's not to say that they're going to fire Billy and go beat Ohio State on the road. That's not what we're saying. But like, I definitely agree that like probably some clock management would get better because it can't get worse.
Probably
it can't get worse. It would definitely stay the same because it's literally impossible to get worse than it is right now. It would probably get better. I think play calling would get better, like situationally. I tend to think that there would be more playmakers involved other than just like the usual suspects that have been doing stuff, which have been some of the better players anyway, don't get me wrong, but like I have a hard time believing that J. Michael Sturdivant is like this unproductive and Eugene Wilson is this unproductive. You get what I'm saying?
Eugene Wilson, definitely. I mean, we've seen him flash, not this season, but before, and it's like, dude, this guy is 100% been a decoy all year.
And he didn't really get significant snaps tonight until Vernell Brown got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only reason he started getting in the game consistent. I mean, he's been pretty much phased out of the offense. Like he doesn't really play if everyone's healthy and right. Which, like, look, if the best guys out there are, if he's not one of them, then like, more power to you. But I'm more saying like, okay, to me, the reason that he hasn't gotten in a lot is because they still run even with getting Dallas Wilson back, which obviously changes the entire lineup. They still only seem to want to run 3 receiver sets. They almost never run 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. Basically never, unless it's like 3rd and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like, I'm just thinking like personnel wise, like I know we joke about like the Tony Livingston, Hayden Hansen thing, whatever, but like personnel wise, it's like, it shouldn't be that way. Like you need to be calling plays that allow for Eugene Wilson and J. Michael Sturdivant and Vernell Brown III and Dallas Wilson to all be in the game at once and spread a defense out. I promise you Hayden Hansen is not keeping defensive coordinators up at night.
I don't know, Graham.
I promise you he's not. You know what might keep a defensive coordinator up at night? I got Dallas Wilson, who is an NFL wide receiver today, on one side of the field. And then I got Vernell Brown III right inside of him in the slot, and he can cook you. And then I got Eugene Wilson on the other side, and he can do stuff. And now I got J. Michael Sturdivant on the far left, and now he can do things like. And by the way, Jaden Ball could still run the football when you got a spread light front. Like Now we're doing stuff. And it's like we get all this talent and we don't put them in situations to succeed. It's simple, basic stuff. And I'm not telling you that I'm Sean McVay. Like, I don't know every last wrinkle that Florida could be doing. But it doesn't take a genius to know that those guys should be on the field more often than Hayden Hansen and Amir Jackson with 2 receiver sets and the pistol.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still run the ball just as effectively. Tennessee does it all the time. Tennessee runs the ball when they've got 3 receivers that are like that could reach out and touch the opposite sideline. They're so wide. Like, why don't we want to utilize our speed and space?
Because that's what good play callers do. Because Rob just dropped a comment. Why do we run tempo, move the ball for 3 or 4 plays easily, then slow it down? Because that's good play callers have a rhythm and they have a feel for the game.
Yes.
Something Napier doesn't have.
Yes.
Why doesn't Napier? Why hasn't it worked with Napier? He's not good at the play calling thing. That's part of the play calling thing. The play calling thing is having a feel for the game, knowing your personnel. How do you get the most out of your own guys? Knowing how to manage timeouts. Just all of those things, knowing when to run the ball, when to throw the ball.
We talked about before too, though. I'm like, and you're pretty much saying it right now. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, this stuff all is connected, right? Like, okay, a guy that cannot clock manage to save his life and has no idea when to call timeouts appropriately and how to run good tempo to preserve time at the end of a half or a game, it's not surprising that's the same guy that has no feel for when we should run the ball or throw the ball or push it down the field or spread it. Like, it's not a coincidence that those are the same people.
Yeah.
That you know what I'm saying? And like, then on an even deeper level, which is why he should have already been fired. And it's the most, in my opinion, the most damning and most concerning part about him as a coach. Not concerning anymore because we all know there's no future with him, but you get what I'm saying. It's also not a coincidence that same guy that has zero feel for the game and how to call plays or clock manage. It's also not a coincidence that all of his quarterbacks get worse as they spend more time with him. Because guess what? If your head coach ain't got no feel for this, your quarterback ain't going to have a feel for it either.
No.
It's not receivers. We just talked about Eugene Wilson. Eugene Wilson was better as a freshman than he is as a junior.
So much better. It is night and day.
And it's night and day. And it's because he's had time in the system to get the Billy Napier stink all over him and get worse. Vernell Brown III, what makes us, okay, let's say by some stroke of luck, Billy Napier was still the coach 2 years from now. Vernell Brown III would either be transferred out or he'd be worse.
Oh, dude, this whole skill team, everybody, all these skill guys would not be here. They would all transfer out.
And if they were still here, they would be worse players than they are right now. And Jaden Ball, like if Jaden Ball stays into next year, he won't be as good of a running back as he's right now. I promise. Because Billy Napier's players don't improve under him. They don't. And it's because of all this same stuff. Like this guy he clearly shows up on Saturdays unprepared. So it's like, okay, the coach that is completely unprepared on Saturdays and has 12 men on the field on special teams every single freaking week, you think he's being productive in film study with DJ Lagway? Of course not. Like, it's not a surprise that all these other things are happening. The obvious stuff is showing up, and it kind of makes some of the underneath between the lines stuff more obvious and clear. So we're beating a dead horse. Nobody in the comments or us think that there's a future with this guy anyway. We all know he's not going to be the head coach. I think what everybody wants to talk about, Dylan, while we still got a few minutes before wrapping up, because you and I have talked about this a little bit, but we haven't gotten super into it with some stuff that's happened over the last week or so. Okay, Lane Kiffin is at the top. We all agree. Lane Kiffin's your top guy. He's my top guy. He's probably everybody in the comments top guy. We know that. Okay. Let's just pretend that we just gave Lane Kiffin a call and he said thanks, but no thanks. He hangs up the phone. Who are you? Who's your next guy, and who's your next couple of guys?
Jeez. Well, it's not Signetti. Check that off the list.
I don't know, man. I'd still call him. Even
Yeah,
with the contract.
Florida's
It's
not.
Indiana football. It's Indiana football versus
Yeah,
Florida
but
football.
dude, Florida's not going to pay his buyout. There's no shot of that happening.
You're probably right, but I still think it's worth exploring. But let's pretend
they're gonna give a call to Drinkwitz. Word on the street is that's too all. And I don't really care for Drinkwitz to be the coach. I
don't
feel
either,
like,
but you're being realistic. Who do you want?
yeah, I want an offensive guy that's going to drop his nuts.
Right,
and I don't know who that is other than Lane Kiffin that's out there.
All right, let me paint this picture for you. Ring ring from Scott Strickland. Hello, this is James Franklin. How do you do? Your thoughts?
Yeah,
Wrong. That's the wrong answer. I would love James.
I would take. Here's one. I'll give you one. Dabo Sweeney. SMU beat Clemson today. For the people that didn't see, I would take Dabo. It seems like Clemson have ran their course. Dabo needs a fresh start. Dabo would be number 2 for me.
Do you take Dabo over James Franklin?
Yeah.
Disagree. James Franklin to me is my number 2. Joe is saying James Franklin averaged 9.4 wins at PSU plus no buyout. I totally agree with that because James Franklin is a proven winner. People get mad at it and say he can't win the big one. At least the big ones matter when he plays them, unlike William Napier. And the third and most important thing to bring it back to being a little bit realistic, he's available. He's unemployed. Like all these other people, to your point that you just made, Dylan, like there is a buyout involved with all these other people after you've paid Billy's buyout and you got to like write up a new contract for like this stuff all is a part of it. James Franklin is a phenomenal coach and he's unemployed.
Yeah, I don't have any strong opinion on anything. Like I know people are saying hell no to Dabo right now. I don't want Lane Kiffin, and if it's not Lane Kiffin, I'm gonna be a miserable wreck, and I'm gonna say it's a disappointing hire. But and by the way, he loses today, which I guess kind of sort of helps. If they don't make the playoff, you got to have at least probably 3 losses, so they have 1 right now. Yeah, I honestly, Graham, I don't have any strong feel. I mean, they're not getting Marcus Freeman. They're not getting Dan Lanning, which everybody keeps pounding the table. Those 2 guys are not.
Marcus Freeman and Dan Lanning are not picking up the phone, in my opinion. They're thanks but no thanks. Goodbye. I don't think those are realistic options. I wouldn't have thought James Franklin was a realistic option until Penn State just canned him.
Yeah, so, well, that was idiotic.
I agree. I totally agree. I just and we've talked about this before, and we will continue to talk about it as long as it's a topic of conversation. Because quite honestly, this is what people are more interested in than breaking down the useless Mississippi State game to improve to 3-4, which I understand. I don't really give a shit either. Neither does Dylan. Dylan took a nap in the first quarter. He just said that. Like, it doesn't really matter. So all I care about, and I said this last week, you got to hire somebody from the Power 4. You have to. Eli Drinkowitz would be like my last choice. I don't want Eli Drinkowitz, but I would still take him over a G5 guy. I'm
or the hot shot coordinator.
Yeah, correct. I'm done giving people their shot. I don't want to do that. We need to go make an aggressive hire that is a proven winner and take someone's football coach. We need to take someone's football coach from their current employer that is having success, winning, competing for titles, what have you. I don't want to talk about all these guys after that. I don't want to talk about Alex Golesh. I don't want to talk about – you know who I would be interested in, though? Because you just mentioned Dabo Sweeney. I would be interested in the coach that just beat Dabo Sweeney. You told me you wanted an offensive guy that'll drop his nuts. Is that not what Rhett Lashley does?
Oh, 100%. Right? Lashley.
That's a good football coach. That is a good football coach.
He knows ball.
That is a really good football coach. Tempo, quick, run up the score, throw it all over the place like that. That type of coach can be successful in Gainesville, in my opinion. That doesn't mean he's my number 1 choice. I think we all agree. Lane, Rob talking about Lincoln Riley. I have a hard time believing it. The coach at USC, I don't think so, man.
All right. So tomorrow, if for some foreseen reason that Napier gets fired, we doing a pod?
Depends on the time. Your boy's busy tomorrow.
Man, I'm trying to hear that junk, bro. I honestly, so the Jags play at 9:30 in the morning. My ass has got to be at the radio station before the game for the pregame. I have not booked a tea time specifically until after the game is done because I don't want Napier to be fired and I'll be on the third hole.
You don't want to miss the Pete Thamel tweet?
Yeah, I don't want to be like Grandma, let's fire up the pod and then me be on the third hole trying to get this birdie.
I'll be working in the afternoon, but if it's before or after when I'm working, I'll have the phone juiced up so we can do an emergency pod.
So if it does happen, we can do a late night pod.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, it'd be late night. If it's not long, I'll be pretty much out of commission from 1 to 4. But if it's
okay, that ain't bad.
Because it's normally when those firings happen on Sunday, it's in the morning anyways.
Yeah, like Franklin got fired 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, dude. If it's 1, 2 o'clock and nothing's happened, it ain't happening.
Yeah, it ain't happening. So, all right, Graham. Great coaching by Billy Napier tonight. He showed why he's probably going to stay in Florida. I can't even say it with a straight face. I did to start the show. I couldn't at the end of the show.
But it's like that. I honestly do. So last thing, because I know we're going to wrap. Was this not kind of like the perfect scenario for a game, like how to finish out? Because listen, I think if first of all, if it was actually true that they're going to fire him tomorrow, whether like win or lose, again, you and I tend to doubt that, but like, let's say that wasn't the case, but they were like, if they lose, it's over. If I'm Scott Strickland or the booster, whoever's making this decision, actually going to pull the trigger, and you're sitting there watching Mississippi State drive down the field about to kick a field goal to win, are you going to not pull the trigger because Mekhi Barrow dropped in coverage and got a pick? Like, no. Like, there's no way.
It's so dumb. And that's exactly what his thought process is if you had to bet. I mean, like you were basing everything on the end result and not the process that leads to the result.
It's one thing. Look, trust me, because again, trust me, everybody listening, like before you might go crazy on this, like Dylan and I would have fired Billy Napier forever ago. So understand who's talking here. It's one thing if that was what their thinking was, and then Florida came out today and they won 35-7, and Lagway throws 4 touchdowns, and he's dealing, and Dallas Wilson's going crazy, and blah, 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 blah. But they backed into winning that lucky ass game, dude.
Dude, the chances of them winning that game, I don't know what the hell the ESPN percentage, that FPI, whatever, that had to have been like under 15%.
Yeah,
I mean, you're just like you're done. You're at the 20-yard line. It's almost a gimme for the kicker. He's been in that situation before. He was going to make it, and they were going to go and storm the field, and Florida was going to, be down, and they were going to boo him out of the stadium.
Literally, just Mekhi Barrow dropped into coverage, and Shapen didn't see him.
Yeah,
and Barrow made a great play. Like that's
it is what it is. So
and if that was to beat Georgia, okay, sure. But to beat Mississippi State on homecoming, like to improve from 2-4 to 3-4, like come on, no.
Big win. Remember a couple weeks ago we said this team would be 3-4 the bye week, and everybody was like, "There's no way where are you gonna find those wins." Where are we at right now? 3-4.
Yep. Joe's saying Scott Strickland should go with him. Say goodbye to. I mean. No arguments here, but unfortunately, that ain't happening.
There's no president.
As long as there's no president, and especially and Dylan and I texted about this the other day, as long as there's no president, and especially no president that is like really passionate about sports, even if a president is kind of more like passive on sports and like can go either way on sports, like basketball just won a title. Like to me, that's not enough. Like it's all about the football program, but like a president would use that as justification to keep him around. So I tend to think Strickland, unless some scandal or something happens, he's going to be here for a while, but whether we like it or not, it's just. Yeah. But the hope is that either the boosters force his hand with the next hire and go get somebody that's legit, or he lucks into a football coach the same way he lucked into Todd Golden. That's kind of where we're at right now, unfortunately. But that's the reality of the situation. So,
yep. All right. Well, we got a bye week next week, and I don't know when we'll talk to you next time. A lot of things can change. So until then, make sure you're liking and subscribing. We're at 395 subscribers on YouTube. Denmark and Marsh. Trying to get 1,000.
hit that button, right? I actually heard, Dylan, breaking news. Scott Strickland just called me, and he said that if every person listening right now subscribes, he will fire Billy Napier on the spot tonight. Scott, say less.
Really? That's weird because I got a text from somebody in the 424 area code. They said, "Hey, old man, are we going hiking tomorrow?" No idea who this person is. They said we going hiking. I said tomorrow.
Wait. Lane Kiffin, is that you? Okay, if everyone subscribes, you're taking the Florida job tomorrow. All right, cool. Sounds good. You guys heard it.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right. Yeah, we may or may not talk tomorrow.
Let's hope we do.
Yes, I think Florida fans would